lovely, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful production. That's all I have to say. I couldn't believe how great they were last night. Oh my God, today is what? The 11th, February 11, 2011. I can't believe it. It was so cold. Yes, it was so cold. But I said to one of my associate producers, Charles Casano, I have to go to Brooklyn to see this wonderful, wonderful, exquisite production, the Drowsy Chaperone. And I'm glad I went. I'm glad I went. It was so much fun. Before we talk about it, we want to give one word to our sponsors. D'Amico's, the best Italian specialties. Madonia's Brothers Bakery. Your Health. Oh my God, I'm running out of breath. and Caterina Lancova. I'm wearing Caterina Lancova. Okay, guys, I'm so happy that you guys are here. I'm hearing Paul. You see, I'm already hearing my cameraman, and my concentration, I promise you, is not going to go off, okay? I got to be concentrated right here. The gallery players, Robert L. Jones. That's how you pronounce your name, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And Neal Freeman.
That's
Neal J.
That's right.
Freeman.
That's
I
right.
got
Get
it
the middle
right.
initial in there.
I went to see the play last night, and a musical, and it was just so great. I had so much fun. It was 2 hours, guys. 2 hours, no intermission. And trust me, you don't need it. And that's a good sign in nowadays. Am I right? Or am I right?
Absolutely.
Get in and out.
Short and sweet.
That's right.
Right.
Have a good time.
A great cast, a great production. It was fun. It was. Somebody's loud in the studio. I can hear him, but that's okay. We're adjusting. I'm fine. We're fine. Nobody's going to take a concentration off. So let's talk about the exquisite process, the play, the production, how you put it together. You know, casting the actors.
Sure. Sure.
It was a great ensemble.
Yeah,
So-
the gallery announced their season, what, last July?
Generally, about June. I mean, we had applied for the rights for this and got it probably in May or June. I'm the executive director of the theater,
Yes.
and our board works to choose the season. And then once we have the season put together, we start to staff it. So Robert came on as the producer, so he was responsible just for the individual show. And then he kind of did everything else. I just kind of sat back and watched it roll.
You know, there was a director, Hans Friedrichs, attached to it, and a choreographer, Christine O'Grady, who I credit a lot of what you saw last night. I mean, everything is them. They had this vision, and their standards are incredibly high, which is what appealed to me to work on this. I worked on the Broadway production in 2006, and was eager to revisit the material again. I think it's probably one of the best musicals of the last 10 years, just for the fact that it embraces the art form, you know,
Yes.
of theater. And so we started auditions right after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And appointments, all that sort of thing, and they came in droves, and we found the 17 talented people that you saw last night on that stage.
Great ensemble.
right?
Each one of them was superb. I just couldn't believe it because there was like we were talking right backstage. They were so committed, so passionate.
Yeah. Well, that's why they would come out to Brooklyn and do a show with us, because but the love of the art and the love of the show. I mean, you tend to get people who are really passionate about particular material, and I know that that's the case with some of our cast that came particularly because of this show.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of wondering about getting all the auditions, getting the actors. The casting was right on. It was perfect.
Well, it's interesting. A lot of the people that came to audition had done the national tour, or they did the non-equity networks tour that went out a couple years ago, and the last legs of that. So actually, our man in chair, Craig Trubert, played the man in chair on the road.
Right.
So he, we
that,
said to him, Hans turned to him in the audition and said, "Why do you want to do this again?" And he's like, "I just love this show. It means the world to me." And he wanted to reinvent himself and play a different performance and experience it in a different way. And I think that's really special, for an actor to be able to revisit a part and examine it.
Because it's always going to be different.
Absolutely.
Like,
every night.
Every night is going to be different. And even Arthur Miller said when he's writing his plays, he says that you can write a play, you can finish it. And maybe you can stop writing and just let it go. and maybe 5 years later, 10 years later, you go back to the same script, the same play, it's going to be a different play.
Absolutely.
So it's like with actors, it's the same deal. The way you approach the character and the way you work yourself.
Well, and the people that are there.
And the people
Craig had an experience in the previous production, but he's getting different energies, different personalities to work against. So it's just alchemy that creates, something brand new.
Yeah. And what's fun is that revisiting it back in New York City, a lot of people know the material and have experienced it in a different way in a much larger space. The Marquee Theater on Broadway holds 1,619 people. The Gallery Players hold 99.
We hold, for the entire 16-performance run, we hold 1,584 people.
Yeah, so that's less than one performance on 45th Street, so it's quite different.
It's a beautiful theater. I loved it.
It's really intimate. It's really
very intimate. Very, I don't know, I feel like I was home.
Well, a lot of people, when they see shows at our space, they say, this show really is meant for a smaller space. I would say that's definitely true about the Drowsy Chaperone. I happen to think it's true about almost every show that we do, that you want to be up close. Theater's about being up close, about making a connection, which is something that you can really experience at the Gallery Players. It just makes it a different experience than the Broadway production.
But it's so alive. You know what, to me, it's about, this is happening now. Like this interview. We're not rehearsing. This is happening now, right? This is it. To be or not to be. We have to make it happen. We have to be present. We have to be connecting, right? And when I saw the show last night, I was speechless. The first line, I hate the theater. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Right from the beginning, the show is taking risk.
Oh, absolutely. Starting in the complete darkness.
In the complete darkness. That was something that I was like, oh my God, look at that.
Right.
And he looked like Peter O'Toole, a young Peter O'Toole, right?
Once the lights came up, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of that is based too. The authors are all Canadian. They're from Toronto, and they have a lot of their roots in Second City and improv and things like that. So they know how to press the buttons of their audience, right? So it's fun to see how that all sort of evolved and how these new actors are telling it differently.
And how you came up, because like I said, it's such a great put together show. It's like, to me, the timing was flawless, like we spoke before. How long it took you to get that perfect? I mean,
well,
how many weeks?
We started the auditions in December, and we offered the roles to the actors in mid-December, and they all came back from Christmas. We were supposed to start rehearsals on December 27th, but that did not happen because of this big blizzard snowstorm that happened.
That,
so that's still all over the ground. So we had no actors, no director in town, and so they came, and we postponed for those actors that were here. They came in and did vocals. So what the gallery usually does is about 5 weeks of rehearsal.
5 weeks, evenings and weekends. I mean, we're rehearsing. You're limited by the agreement with the Actors Union that we work under to about, I believe it's 28 hours per week. So we tend to do that over the, in the evening time and on the weekends. But they didn't even get that.
We had 4 weeks of rehearsal, and that's building. It's building the set and the actors and the costumes.
I don't believe it. I'm sorry, but I'm going to sit down right here and I'm going to say no. There's no way. Honestly, a musical is like, it's work. Of course, doing a show takes a lot of work, but all the songs and all the lines and the timing.
Yeah.
Well, the dance, I mean, those are incredibly interesting. And I know, in talking to our choreographer, Christina O'Grady, she, as Robert said, I mean, just incredibly high standards, and they're trying things, and then they're changing them, and that takes time. The actors have to learn the dance, and then we try something new. Right. I mean, so it's really kudos to the team that it came together so smoothly. But it's always, you're a few steps behind until we get the show open. You're always feeling like you're catching up.
And what do people say to you guys when they come to see your shows? My last night was my first night, my first time, and I loved it. I was happy, Living in the city, went to Brooklyn to see the show. It was so cold, and God, I came out. I was happy. I was clapping. I was in my feet. Look at that picture. Look at that woman. Look at that cast.
That's Whitney Brannon, who plays Janet. She's the bride in the show. And then some of our ensemble members, Jennifer DiDonato and Jake Mendes. And in the back is Erin Libby, who is one of the gangsters, and Dawn Troutman is Mrs. Tottendale. So that's one of our...
And I was kind of curious with the costume. Like, it got to change so quick, so fast.
She has, like 6 or 7 costume changes within that number show off?
Yes.
We have a very incredibly talented, I cannot sing enough praises about this gentleman, Ryan Mahler, who did these costumes. He has the work ethic of a warhorse. You know, he's incredible, and he was like a dog with a bone. He's like, we have 40-something costumes in the show, and I'm gonna make it all happen.
I know.
You know, it's
like it's like you know, it was so precise, like when you're watching a magic trick. It's right on, and it's like how they put it together. You can rehearse as much as you can, but it takes. I don't know. It was like, oh God, the scene where she's swimming. Right?
Which is a whole new conceit. I mean, that number was made famous on the Tony Awards by Sutton Foster, who's a Tony Award winner, and she's a big Broadway darling and things. And, you know, they went into it saying, we have to do something different. It has to be different. And Christine said, you know, I can't have the same sort of costume here. And Hans said, we have to do something different. And she's by the pool, and on Broadway she never went in the pool, and said, well, why not? That would be kind of fun, and using the conceits of, you know, your imagination and verisimilitude and stuff. And it's quite charming when she, you know, jumps into the pool and swims and does water aerobics. And
I laughed kind of, you know, loud, and I just couldn't help it because it was like, you know what it is? I think that people respond. Look at how beautiful you look. Forget about me. It's about you guys, and my hair is sticking out again. I can't help it. I don't want to use hairspray because my hair is dry as it is, and if I do that, I'm gonna die. I can't do that anymore. I look like Johnny Depp in Edward Scissorhands. I was like, pretty much when I saw the scene and see all the costume and the music back and forth. I mean, and I saw how the actors sweat on stage.
It's a live experience.
It's a live it is happening. It was happening.
Yeah.
When you go to bed late at night, I mean, those guys, can they sleep after the show?
They're all revved up, yeah.
Right.
You can't, right?
No, absolutely. I can't, and I sit and watch it. You
well,
know,
and they're doing a show, you know, in a few minutes, and then again tomorrow at 2 o'clock. You know, so they're
5 shows
just going to keep that energy rolling.
Yes, and everybody. I tell you this much: this is the kind of production that everybody should go and see. I'm picky and I'm very kind, and I like to see great work. And this production was absolutely great. It was flawless. It was beautiful. It was truthful. It was honest. It was energetic. It's like Bertolt Brecht used to say, the theater is about truth, about politics, about work, about actors, about battles, about many things. But the theater is about entertainment. I have to be entertained. I have to be entertained because if I'm not entertained, I'm out.
Absolutely.
I'm out. So it's like you guys grabbed the audience right from the beginning, and you never dropped that ball.
Well, you know, the great thing about this show, I mean, because it in many ways is a parody of a sort of classic 1920s musical, but those musicals succeeded for a reason, because they were extremely entertaining. And so this show gets the best of both. It gets the ability to entertain you like a 20s musical, but the ability to stimulate and engage you and make you laugh by also existing outside of that, by sort of playing with those conceits, and that, you know, and as all good parodies do, they exist as their own self and then as the parody.
Yeah, but it's like it was like many different realities on stage. You know, it was different. Like everybody got their own private moments there. Everybody was like interacting with each other, right?
It's an ensemble show.
It's an ensemble.
Yeah, and you know, the conceit of the show is about this man who wants to chase his blues away to escape into this world, and he says, I just want to be entertained. Isn't that the point? Isn't that the point? That's why we're here.
Right.
Amen. Right?
Amen.
And that's his line.
Please,
and,
yes.
And it's really fun to watch him do that.
Yeah. It's a whole journey. And I tell you, I want to go and see the play again. And that play was like I said to Charles last night, and my hair's sticking out again, and I'm going to fix it. You see, that I'm going to fix right now. You see, I'm going to use the camera like it's a mirror. I'm going to do like your boy did last night in the play.
Oh, that's
Remember?
right. Yeah, absolutely.
Where he was using the camera as a mirror.
You're going to start tapping for us?
Yeah, I can't. The tapping. I forgot all about it.
Yeah.
They were so
There's a little of everything in this musical,
yes.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
Broadway caliber performances. Am I right or am I right?
I like to think so.
Absolutely.
Like the Drowsy Chaperone, she looked like Bibi Newirth.
She did. The wig helps a lot, and she's good.
When she stepped out, I said, oh, "Is that her?"
Yeah, that's Lorraine Lampert, who plays the Chaperone. Yeah, she's a very talented actress.
Very talented.
Yeah.
She's done a few shows with us, actually. I believe this is her 4th.
She's done a lot. Yeah. She's been around. You can tell. You can tell actors when they've been around. Can we bring their names up? Because I can't. I do not And that's your job, Robert.
Okay, all right, we can go
That's
through.
your job. Please do, because this is something that we must do.
So-
and I want to make sure that my hand is not in your shop, Paul. So you tell me.
All right.
I want to hear them one by one.
So we talked about Craig. I'm going to go in the order I know they come on.